I'm Luke. Today on Auto Darts, we are checking out some more quality offerings from the mothership. Let's get going. The Ultra line has been a very contentious point in our hobby. There are a few people that have really enjoyed it, and my hat's off to you. I am not one of those, so if you are looking for a positive review of these blasters, probably want to click off elsewhere. However, if you'd like to hear my thoughts on these two blasters, let's get going. I can't quite tell what Hasbro is doing with this lineup. Along with the very obvious lies on the package of 120 feet, which we have proven even over hundreds of shots is literally impossible unless you've got a tailwind of about 30 miles an hour. On top of that, they don't seem to know what they're doing with their release schedule. We got the 1, the 2, the 4, the 5, then the 3, then the Pharaoh, then the Amp, which is the Strife version we're going to talk about today, then the Dorado, and of course the Dorado repaint, the Scream Machine. I don't know if they've just abandoned the numbers altogether and realized that that was bad marketing, or if they were intended to be released like this from the beginning. I can't quite tell. It's a little strange. It's a very bizarre choice. The Ultra lineup has now officially gone full circle, and I expect we're starting to run out of steam. After a myriad of uninteresting releases, we are back to number 2. This is the Ultra 2, this is the Scream Machine, which is identical to the Dorado. You'll probably notice some similarities there. In fact, it actually looks like they've literally taken the stock that existed on the Ultra 1 and just slapped it on here, added a carry handle, a larger muzzle, and actually kind of comfortable grip, to be honest. But it's backwards. It feels like that should be the way you carry it. This would be better. We're going to get into ergonomics here in a minute, but it's very much back to the beginning, and I don't get it. I don't know why you make so many blasters that are so derivative of something you just came out with only a year prior. I think they're stretching and definitely reaching for more money out of this lineup. We have seen the grip has not been redesigned. It is still rather cramped and uncomfortable. The Ultra 2 is not the worst of the blasters as far as the grip comfort and the overall feel of the blaster, so it's not awful. It's a little on the small side. I do feel like this pump grip itself is backwards, but the rest of this blaster is really purely cosmetic. So if you like the form factor and you want to paint it or do something cool with it or just play with it in general, it's going to be fine. Surprisingly, the carry handle does fit a full-size adult male's hands, while the grip itself does not. I mean, this even looks like these little notches. They're like meant for my hands. It's pretty good, actually. It's impressive. I mean, it's actually better than, say, like a Rapid Strike. So it's a real carry handle. I could actually use this to carry my 2-pound plastic toy around. The performance is the same as the Ultra 2. They're still lying to us on the box. Ooh, maybe they're not lying to us on the box. I have to actually refer to this box. This is the Scream Machine. Actually, it looks like they are not claiming a specific range on this one, which is a very interesting departure, considering its counterpart did have that claim. There's not a lot new here. There's no innovation. It's just purely cosmetic changes and a nice paint job. I will say that this blue is a very cool shade of blue, and it has a nice look, and the Screamer darts are actually kind of neat. I mean, as far as Ultra goes, if you're going to use Ultra, I think the Screamer darts are fun to listen to. No firing demo needed on this guy. It is literally identical to the Ultra 2, and they are still making it with off-centered flywheels, just like the Ultra 2. That has definitely got to be hurting accuracy. I suspect it's even causing the darts, to hit the inside of the barrel, but I can't quite tell. I don't know why they're off-centered. It does not make sense. They're not all off-center to the same degree. They vary blaster to blaster, and it is just a very strange choice in design. Moving right along. The Ultra Amp is considerably more interesting as far as a 2021 release. This is the blaster that we sort of expected from the beginning. It is a magazine-fed blaster with a 6-dart magazine. It's got a reasonably comfortable foregrip. Up front, though, for my adult wrists and hands, it's a little uncomfortable here where this does not fit in. I can let that slide because ultimately this blaster is intended for kids. I think these grips are actually probably pretty decent for a 10-year-old's hands, but for my adult hands, they are not comfortable. For those of you that think I am an ergonomic crazy person, Hasbro has done right for years. You know, we come over here to the Strife, and the Strife, despite being, you know, a small grip and maybe missing a little space here, it is a very comfortable trigger, very comfortable grip. It's easy to hold on to, and that's an old blaster. It's 7, 8 years old or something. You know, we step over to the Recon, exceptionally comfortable grip, feels great. This is a Mark II. That's also quite a few years old at this point. Nearly all of the rival blasters have decent grips. So why you would make your flagship high-end premium product uncomfortable and ergonomically doomed, I have no idea. The mag release on this blaster is not as bad as some of the Elite 2.0 blasters, but it is still pretty painful. Not only do you not have a lot of space inside the trigger well here, but pushing against this requires a fair amount of force. And after some practice, you can of course do it, but it is definitely not the most comfortable. Again, it is better than Elite 2.0, but it's still not very comfortable, and it's pretty cramped overall. So I would much rather have an actual paddle or lever release there. Perhaps this is cheaper to manufacture. We may never know. Up top, we get this great faux sight, which not only detracts from your actual vision capability, but it distorts. It literally, it does not magnify, it is not accurate, and it makes the image warpy. So much so that if you try to aim with this, like, it is really bad. It's both not centered and not lined up. I can't hit anything with this inside. And then we're gonna move on to probably what I think is one of the worst parts of this blaster. I have never been so mad as opening this battery door. Brett, my buddy, also known as Bray, brought this thing by, and inside this seemingly standard battery door is our seemingly normal battery compartment. This compartment is the most frustrating thing I have ever done on a toy product in years. I do not know how this got made. It's so bad that when Brett stopped by, he literally just said, try to put batteries in it. And I wanted to throw the thing out the window. I think we should make my employees each try, and we're going to time them to see how fast they can actually get them installed. Let's see how that goes. It's not the markings themselves that are a problem, it's getting them in, and it is unbelievably frustrating to... I'm not exaggerating. I hope no kid is going to do this. No 10-year-old, 12-year-old is going to enjoy this. And then the second tier is it's all in the way for the first tier. I mean, I end up basically bending or breaking these tabs. And then once this is all in, which the only reason I got this in so quickly is because I know the order in which they need to go in. But once these are in, they are remarkably difficult to get out. So much so that like the top ones will come out just fine. That's pretty normal. But the bottom one, I literally have to use a tool. I cannot get these out with my fingernails. And I figured out some tricks and marred these batteries quite a bit, but you have to really use some force to make this function. And this is just seems unacceptable considering, you know, the Dart Zone blasters have a similar battery tray setup and they work just fine. And I suspect if I just rip those tabs out, it might solve part of the problem, but I honestly don't get it. I can't figure out if this is some sort of lock or what it is they're trying to do, but it is just a nightmare. So battery tray aside, once you've got those batteries in, the blaster has similar ultra performance, taking about 2 to 2.5 seconds to rev up to full. I will say that it is performing in our loose tests that it is a little bit better than the Ultra 1, but there is no way it's hitting this 120-foot claim on the box, even at an ideal 30 or 35 degree arc. It's just not not hitting the velocities. I do not understand how they are allowed to do this or get away with this. There's no, of course, no laws against anything like this. It's just false advertising. But I don't know why they would do this when it's so blatantly not true. While I was really excited to see basically the Ultra Strife, the amp is ultimately quite a disappointment for me. I don't think it's going to be a real popular modding platform. Ultimately, it really comes down to this ammo type. Unless you're invested and love this Ultra ammo, I just don't see any reason to buy this blaster. The one thing I will note is I do feel like the pricing on this one is probably the best of any of the ones that have come out so far. It's priced at $29.99, which puts it at basically the same price as the Strife with the add-ons that Amazon has sold recently, the most common version of the Strife you can get now. That said, this is not a buy. I'm going to give this 2 out of 5 stars. Scream Machine, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars. I think there are some fun cages you can put in here. From a modding perspective, it's a little more fun with the rear loading. One of my next videos is going to be on the Elite conversion kit from Kuriaka and a Daybreak cage that's inside here. And I do think this is a really fun modding platform. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a complete Ultra hater. I think this is really fun on the modding side. It's not a great blaster by itself, though form factor and function, it's a really unique design. So I didn't rate this one originally when it came out, but the Ultra 2, I'd actually give 4 stars considering the rest of the Ultra line. My question for all of you and ultimately for Hasbro is what's happening next? Like, is this the end of the Ultra line, or do they have another 10 or 12 blasters we got to sit through before they decide that this isn't successful? I'll let you be the judge. Ultimately, vote with your dollars, buy the blasters you like, support the companies you like, don't support the other lines and blasters you don't like. Until next time, I'm out of darts, and grateful this time. It literally took me 5 minutes to get these in when Brett came by, and he was just laughing the whole time.